What's up guys, Mike here, and we are back with another what if. Now you guys have been asking for another what if video for a long time, so today we're taking a look at what if James Harden was never traded to the Houston Rockets. Now I kind of put off doing the simulation for a while because I wasn't sure how much was actually going to change, but trust me, in this new NBA a whole lot changes. And just before we jump in, I just want to say that all of my other what ifs are down below in the description, so if you like this one, there is a whole lot more content waiting for you. And other than that, I hope you enjoy the video. Before the Thunder blew a 3-1 advantage to the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, before Kevin Durant left to the Warriors in the 2016 offseason, before we spent the whole summer of 2016 dissecting quotes from Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and deciding the two hate each other, we had the 2012 NBA Finals, an NBA championship series that matched up the NBA's current big three of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh against basketball's future big three. Yes, the 2012 playoffs saw the Oklahoma City Thunder defeat the best the West had to offer behind the young core of 23-year-old Kevin Durant, 23-year-old Russell Westbrook, and 22-year-old James Harden, and reached the NBA Finals. There they lost in 5 games to the veteran Miami Heat, but a message had been sent. The Thunder had demolished the Mavericks with Dirk, destroyed the Lakers with Kobe, and had put down the Spurs with Tim Duncan. They were the NBA's future. They were a surefire NBA dynasty in the making. Only it didn't happen. Somehow reaching the 2012 NBA Finals would become the greatest feat that the Big Three in OKC would ever accomplish. In the next 4 seasons, the Thunder did not win a championship that had once seemed all but certain. In fact, they never again reached the NBA Finals. And we all know why. Because in the summer of 2012, the OKC Thunder offered James Harden a contract worth $55.5 million. This figure was $4.5 million short of the max and would allow the Thunder to avoid the luxury tax. But knowing his worth, Harden declined the offer and told the Thunder that he wanted a max contract. So instead of paying a player who would become the best shooting guard in the NBA, the Thunder decided to trade Harden to the Rockets in exchange for Kevin Martin, Jeremy Lamb, 2 first-round picks, and a second-round pick. This trade will go down as one of the worst trades in NBA history. It ruined the NBA's best young team, it ruined a potential dynasty, and it gave away any chance that the Thunder would win a championship with Kevin Durant on the roster. But with all of this said, what if we could go back? What if we could slap some sense into the Thunder's front office and force them to pay Harden? Remember, just last season, the Thunder re-signed Enes Kanter and ended up paying the luxury tax despite their earlier reservations. They had learned from their mistake, a mistake that cost them a potential dynasty. And today, we're going to see just how much that mistake did cost them, because we're going to take a look at one of the NBA's biggest questions. What if the Oklahoma City Thunder never traded away James Harden? And so our scenario brings us back to the summer of 2012. In our new NBA, the Thunder come to their senses and re-sign James Harden to a max contract. This means that the Thunder still have their core of Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Serge Ibaka intact. And it means that OKC is a clear NBA title contender, which brings us to the 2013 season. In 2013, the Thunder win 3 more games with the addition of James Harden and the notable loss of Kevin Martin. Remember, while Harden did break out and star in Houston, he will be providing somewhat of a reduced role in OKC. And on the other hand, Kevin Martin actually did have a great season for the Thunder in 2013, which is why the Thunder only win 3 more games. And with the loss of James Harden, the Houston Rockets do not have a star that can carry the load, and they do not perform at the same level. They lose 5 more games than in their original 2013 season, and their future is bleak with the loss of a potential star. Which brings us to the 2013 NBA playoffs. In the original playoffs, the Thunder matched up against the Rockets, but Houston no longer grabs the 8th seed. Instead, the Utah Jazz sneak in, but are quickly dispatched in a sweep by Oklahoma City. And this change in opponents is actually very important for the 2013 Thunder. Because remember, Russell Westbrook originally tore his meniscus in Game 2 when Patrick Beverley undercut him, but this was a freak injury. Russ only got hurt because of the way Beverley hit him when he was in an awkward position. It wasn't going to happen no matter what, it only happened because of that exact moment. And so in this scenario, Russ never gets hurt, and the Thunder carry their first round momentum into the second round against the Memphis Grizzlies. Originally, Memphis defeated the Thunder in 5 games, but now the Thunder have both Russ and Harden playing. And so with their new and improved roster, OKC dominates the Grizzlies, winning in 5 games and setting up a matchup with the San Antonio Spurs. Quick note, if you guys are new to this, I do sim these games on whatifsports.com. It's a site that allows me to edit historic teams and play them against other historic teams. And so the Thunder reached the 2013 Western Conference Finals and are matched up with the Spurs. Behind Durant, OKC easily wins game 1 but are defeated by the Spurs in game 2 in a historic match that sees Tim Duncan finish with 35 points and 14 rebounds in an overtime victory. Now, playing on the road, the Thunder regain their home court advantage with a win in game 3, but they lose a close contest in game 4. Game 5 sees the Thunder again struggle to match the Spurs' superior team style of play, as the Thunder fall by 4 points. But facing elimination, OKC is able to bounce back and win game 6, setting up a game 7 matchup at home for a chance to reach the NBA Finals. And indeed, OKC is able to defeat San Antonio by 6 points in the deciding matchup behind 36 points from Durant and a triple-double from Russ, setting up a finals matchup against the Miami Heat. Game 1 and 2 see the Miami Heat defend their home court with 2 straight wins, setting up a must-win game for the Thunder back in OKC. Unfortunately, no one told the Thunder this, as they lose game 3 despite a solid 27-point outing from Harden. And now down 3-0 with the threat of elimination knocking on their door, the Thunder finally come to play, destroying the Heat by 33 points. And back in Miami in game 5, the Thunder ride their newfound energy and defeat the Heat on a game-winning buzzer beater by Russell Westbrook. And game 6 is more of the same, as OKC again blows out the Heat at home and comes all the way back from 3 games down. But unfortunately for OKC, their magical run comes to an end. The Miami Heat defeat the Thunder in a game 7 blowout, and again OKC's big 3 heads into the summer without a ring. Which brings us to the 2013 NBA offseason and of course the 2013 NBA draft. Now, not much has changed in the NBA landscape in terms of records, but the James Harden trade already makes a huge impact on the NBA's future, because in the original 2013 NBA draft, the Thunder owned the number 12 pick due to their trade with Houston. They originally used this pick to select Steven Adams. However, since the trade never happened, Houston still has this pick and is in desperate need of a franchise star. They roll the dice on the most hit or miss prospect available to them and select
Giannis Antetokounmpo from Athens, Greece.
And so Houston ends up with Giannis instead of Milwaukee, who instead ends up taking another promising young player in Dennis Schroeder with their 15th pick. Steven Adams, on the other hand, ends up going to the Boston Celtics with the 13th pick, as he was a higher rated draft prospect than their original selection, Kelly Olynyk. And moving on to free agency, the original offseason saw Dwight Howard, fresh off an absolutely horrible experience with the Lakers, sign with the Houston Rockets in order to get away from the wrath of Kobe Bryant. Unfortunately for the Rockets, they no longer have James Harden, so Dwight does not end up in Houston. Instead, he signs with the Dallas Mavericks, teaming him up with a veteran team in desperate need of a star to team with Dirk. And so Houston, with the loss of James Harden and Dwight Howard's salaries and talents, cannot let another one of their talented players go and re-sign Kevin Martin instead of letting him go off to free agents. These several significant changes bring us to a new 2014 NBA season. In this new NBA, the most notable losers are Minnesota, who drops 5 games with the loss of Kevin Martin, who averaged almost 20 points a game in 2014, and the Rockets, who lose a staggering 16 games without Harden and Dwight. Originally, the Rockets won 54 games and were the 4th seed in the West, but their new roster lacks any star power and they're forced to play an unprepared Giannis heavy minutes to help his development. So instead, they slip out of the playoffs. On the positive side of the spectrum, the Dallas Mavericks win an extra 4 games with Dwight Howard now manning the middle, and the Oklahoma City Thunder pick up 6 wins with a star shooting guard in Harden replacing the questionable minutes originally played by Jeremy Lamb and Derek Fisher. Which brings us to the 2014 NBA playoffs. Now, the original playoffs had the Thunder as the 2 seed, but in this new NBA, they are now the top dogs in the Western Conference. They easily dispatch of the Phoenix Suns in the first round of the Western Conference and now find themselves playing the Dallas Mavericks in the second round instead of the Clippers. The Thunder defeat the Mavericks in 5 games, and again, the Thunder are able to avoid a costly injury. Because remember, in the original Game 6, Serge Ibaka tripped over Chris Paul and ended up injuring his left calf. He ended up missing a few games and played the rest of the playoffs hurt. But again, this was a freak injury and the Thunder are now playing the Mavericks, so it never happens. And so with a fully healthy squad, the Thunder take the court against the San Antonio Spurs in the Western Conference Finals, this time with home court advantage. And game 1 comes down to the wire as Tony Parker drills a shot to cut the lead to 1 with just 11 seconds remaining. From there, Westbrook gets fouled and makes 1 of 2, and then Tim Duncan's shot is blocked by Kendrick Perkins and the Thunder hold on for the win. The Spurs bounce back though and steal home court advantage in game 2 behind 27 points from Kawhi, and the series heads back to San Antonio, where the Spurs stay on a roll and win game 3 by 10. Now in a must-win game 4, Russell Westbrook comes to play, scoring 30 points and finishing with 6 assists to bring the series back to OKC tied at 2 games apiece. Game 5 though finds an unsung hero in Patty Mills, as Mills drills 3 huge 3-pointers at the beginning of the 4th quarter to give the Spurs a lead they would never relinquish. And so facing elimination, the series again returns back to San Antonio, and again, Russell Westbrook comes up huge. He finishes finishes with 39 points and 12 rebounds, and the Thunder win by 10, setting up a big Game 7. And in a pressure-packed Game 7, the game comes down to the wire. With 33 seconds to go and up 5, Russ misses a runner. The Spurs rebound the ball, and Duncan comes up with a huge bank shot to cut the lead to 1 with 25 seconds left. At this point, the Thunder should run out the clock, but Kevin Durant finds an easy path to the basket. He attempts an uncontested runner, and it clanks off the rim, giving the ball back to the Spurs with a chance to tie. But instead of going for a 3, they instead attempt a quick 2 with Tim Duncan, and his shot is way off the mark. From there, Russ gets fouled, makes 1 of 2, and the Thunder head into the NBA Finals. Again, for the 3rd season in a row, the NBA Finals find the Thunder matched up against the Miami Heat. This time though, the Thunder find themselves with home court advantage and win Game 1 after a huge 4th quarter comeback. Game 2 again shows how inconsistent this team can be though, and the Heat take home court advantage with a 20-point victory. In Game 3, Kevin Durant struggles to get going, but LeBron struggles more, and the Thunder take a 6-point victory. Bouncing back, LeBron produces a monster 40 point, 12 assist, 14 rebound performance in Game 4, and the series heads back to OKC tied at 2. At home, the Thunder win as their big 3 shine. Russ scores 27, Harden and Durant score 24 apiece, and the Thunder just need 1 win to become NBA champions. But they're still playing a very talented Miami team, and indeed, the Heat take care of business at home and set up a Game 7. And Game 7 finds the Thunder down 4 headed into the 4th quarter. But then, the OKC big 3 begin to heat up. Durant knocks down a jumper, Russ converts on a monster dunk, and Harden isolates, steps back, and hits a 3 with a man right in his face. With a minute to go, the Thunder lead by 3 and have the ball. They put it in the hands of Durant, who isolates, finds room, and knocks down an incredibly clutch jumper. On the next play, Miami misses a 3 by Wade, and the game ends with several OKC free throws, which means for the first time, the Oklahoma City Thunder are NBA champions. But our story does not end with an Oklahoma City championship. Indeed, life in the NBA moves on, and the 2014 NBA draft brings us only one change of significance. After missing the playoffs, the Houston Rockets now draft 14th and select Jusuf Nurkic, a talented young center who will fill the void that Dwight left behind. Moving on in the offseason, the Rockets find themselves with several roster changes. In the original summer of 2014, the Rockets traded away salaries to make a run at Chris Bosh. However, they no longer feel they have a chance at him and instead re-sign Jeremy Lin, who has flourished with the ball in his hands without Harden. They also keep Omar Asik and match Chandler Parsons' restricted contract offer, as they need to keep as much talent on their roster as possible. This means that the Rockets also do not sign Trevor Ariza, who instead returns to a Washington team who had originally tried desperately to keep him. And rounding out the offseason, the Thunder are returning NBA champs but have a serious hole in their roster with the loss of Steven Adams. The Knicks make it clear that they are cutting costs to remain active in free agency and are willing to give up Tyson Chandler for Reggie Jackson, who is still on his rookie contract, and an expiring contract in Kendrick Perkins. Which brings us into the 2015 NBA season, and again we have some winners and some losers. Among the losers, we have the Dallas Mavericks, who do not gain much production with Dwight instead of Tyson Chandler and end up losing 6 games with the loss of Chandler Parsons at small forward. The Pelicans no longer have a decent player in Asik at center and drop a few games. The Bucks no longer have Giannis, who began to come into his own this year and lose 6 games as Dennis Schroeder struggles. And speaking of Giannis, he begins to flourish for the Rockets this season. Yes, the Rockets still lose 6 more games, but the future begins to look brighter in Houston. As for the winners, the Washington Wizards pick up an extra 3 wins with Trevor Ariza on their roster, and of course, the OKC Thunder find themselves much improved. Yes, originally this season Kevin Durant went down with injury, and that still happens. Because unlike those freak injuries, this happened in the regular season, so we have to assume that it's still going to happen. Originally, the Thunder missed the playoffs as Russ was unable to carry them by himself. In the new NBA, however, Russ has Harden to help carry the load, and Tyson Chandler provides an excellent season. So the Thunder pick up 13 wins and are awarded the 3rd seed in the playoffs. However, without Durant, the 2015 playoffs find the Thunder unable to make another championship type run. They are able to defeat the Trailblazers in the first round of the playoffs, but this time, the Clippers do not choke away the second round of the playoffs and instead defeat the Thunder in 6 games. Again, Golden State wins the NBA championship, but the 2016 season will certainly give the Thunder one more shot at a title. In the 2015 offseason, the 2015 NBA draft brings us some absolutely huge changes that will definitely affect the future of the NBA. Now drafting 10th, the Bucks need a center, as their previous one liked weed a little too much, and so they steal Miles Turner away from the Pacers, giving them a potential franchise cornerstone. And moving down a little, the New Orleans Pelicans find themselves out of the 2014 playoffs and instead are drafting 13th. Missing the playoffs turns out to be a blessing in disguise, however, as with the 13th pick,
Devin Booker from the University of Kentucky.
yes, the Pelicans are able to select select Devin Booker, my favorite player and a future star to pair up with Anthony Davis in New Orleans. Pelicans fans, you are now allowed to cry. Rounding out the 2015 offseason, Enes Kanter is never traded because Reggie Jackson is in New York and not OKC. And so in this offseason, the Portland Trailblazers signed him to a max contract, which brings us to the final season of this simulation. And in our final season, several changes have occurred that drastically alter the standings. Notably, the Pistons lose 7 games without Reggie Jackson, the Rockets lose 5 games as they still don't have Harden or Dwight, the Bucks lose 4 games without Giannis, and the Pacers lose 3 games without Miles Turner. On the flip side, the Mavericks pick up 4 games as Dwight has a bounce back season. The Blazers win 4 more games with Enes Kanter at center, and of course, the OKC Thunder see a huge change. Trotting out Westbrook, Harden, Durant, Ibaka, and Chandler, the Thunder win 10 more games but still finish 3rd in the Western Conference. And so let's fast forward past the first 2 rounds of the playoffs and come to the Western Conference Finals. Again, the Thunder reached the West final round by defeating the San Antonio Spurs, and again they are matched up against the Warriors. And we all know what happened in the original 2016 playoffs. The Thunder took a 3-1 lead over the Warriors came back, and Kevin Durant left OKC to join the team that had just beaten him. But this is the new NBA, a new OKC Thunder team, and this time history does not repeat itself. The Thunder again take a 3-1 series advantage, but now they're able to close out Game 5 behind a monster 40-point performance by none other than James Harden, which sets up a new finals matchup between the OKC Thunder and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, the Thunder enter the NBA Finals with home court advantage, and despite 27 points from LeBron, they are able to hold on to that advantage in Game 1 and win by 9. In Game 2, Russ goes off, scoring 32 points and 11 assists, but LeBron drops 34, and Kevin Love comes up with a huge 26-point, 15-rebound performance, and the Cavs take Game 2. Which brings the series to Cleveland, and there, James Harden puts on a show. He ends up with 31 points in Game 3 while Westbrook chips in 13 assists, and the Thunder win big. And surprisingly, Game 4 brings us much of the same. This time, Durant and Russ both score 29, Harden finishes with 20, and Kyrie Irving struggles as the Thunder take a 3-1 series lead with an 8-point victory. But with a comfortable lead, the Thunder take their foot off the gas a little and end up losing Game 5 in a blowout, as Kyrie makes up for his poor Game 4 performance with a 42-point effort in the victory. But still, Game 6 provides the Thunder with another chance to clinch the series, and they do just that. They run away with Game 6, defeating the Heat by 15 points on the road behind a combined 73 points from their big 3 of Westbrook, Durant, and Harden. And so, for the second time in 3 seasons, the Oklahoma City Thunder find themselves as NBA champions, which brings us to the end of one of the NBA's biggest questions. As you can see, the choice to trade James Harden cost the Thunder a potential 2 NBA championships. And now with 2 rings on his fingers and a loaded roster, there is no way that Kevin Durant would ever leave OKC. So the Thunder are primed to continue their dominance. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. It took me so long to make, but it was worth it because I think it's awesome to see how much the NBA changes with one decision. In this simulation, if OKC kept James Harden, they end up with 2 more rings, which also means LeBron loses an extra championship. There's no iconic chase down block. We lose one of basketball's best moments. And I can't forget to mention that the Pelicans end up with Devin Booker. That joke of a franchise lands another potential all-star to pair with Anthony Davis. Again, Pelicans fans, you can cry. And other than that, if you guys are new to this channel, I hope you subscribe. I make what ifs like this. I look at basketball history, I do conspiracies, and I follow the NBA all season. So if you love basketball, I think you'll love this channel. And to everyone supporting me, thank you so much. You know how much you guys mean to me. And with that said, I hope you guys have an awesome day, and cue that what if music.